ChatGerry, a VPT analysis of Ukraine, territorial loss versus 3 war spending stressors, from 2013 to 2025. Number 1461, VPT Sharp 023, December 9, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: Geopolitical Science. This paper applies my Viscoplastopology method, VPT, to a geopolitical conflict. The goal is simple: understand how Ukraine's territorial loss from 2013 to 2025 was shaped by 3 measurable stress inputs: Russia, military spending, Ukraine military spending, and Western supporting amount. In VPT, land loss becomes the strain, and spending becomes the stress. When strain cannot fully recover, we call it an irreversible deformation. That is exactly how borders behave in war. Strain is defined as the percent of Ukraine land under Russian control. It stayed at 0% in 2013, then jumped to about 7% in 2014 when Russia took Crimea and parts of Donbas. From 2015 through 2021, it remained at 7% with frozen front lines. In 2022, it jumped again to about 18% with the full invasion. It stayed near 18% in 2023, rose to 20% in 2024, and adjusted to about 19% in 2025. These values match the real picture of war. More importantly, they match the physics of irreversible deformation: 2 big jumps, many flat years, no reversal back to zero. The 3 spending forces must be converted into dimensionless stress indexes, so we normalize each one using its own true baseline. Russia's index of 1.0 occurs in 2013, its last stable pre-war year. Ukraine's index of 1.0 occurs in 2021, the last normal year before its wartime surge. Western aid reaches index 1.0 in 2022, the first year of full-scale support. Each party entered the conflict at a different time and scale, so one anchor year cannot represent all. These 3 normalization anchors create fair comparisons. After calculating strain change rate over time and building the 3 stress-strain curves, VMT energy is obtained by integrating the area under each curve. This energy represents how much cumulative mechanical impact each party contributed to the deformation of Ukraine's territorial area law structure. The results show a clear pattern. Ukraine carries the highest VMT energy, about 76%. Russia carries about 14%. Western aid contributes about 10%. These ratios hold deep meaning. When a nation fights for survival, it absorbs the greatest load. The defender is the material being bent. It must mobilize every part of its national body, defend every inch of land, and sustain extreme internal pressure. This pressure aligns directly with the deepest territorial losses, so the VMT energy area becomes the largest. History has shown this pattern before, such as the United Kingdom, resisting 4 years of Nazi air raids, or China enduring 8 years of Japanese invasion. Ukraine follows the same physics of survival. Russia's VMT energy is smaller because Russia applies force, but Ukraine absorbs the deformation. The strain occurs on Ukrainian land, not inside Russia. When strain does not change, even if Russia spends money, little energy accumulates. The attacker chooses when to strike, but the defender carries the mechanical consequence. Western support has the smallest energy, because Western nations are not deforming bodies. Their territories are not under attack. They help, but do not absorb the strain. They function as bystanders supplying tools rather than materials being bent. VMT results identifies this difference clearly. In engineering language, Ukraine is the deformed material, Russia is the applied force, and the West is the external helper. Cumulative VMT energy reveals one more critical insight. Energy rises very slowly from 2013 to 2021, then suddenly jumps from about 7% to 86% in 2022. This is exactly what happens when a system is pushed beyond its elastic limit. Once a structure crosses that threshold, almost all energy concentrates into one catastrophic plastic deformation. That is what happened to Ukraine in 2022. The deeper lesson learned is that survival is a physical load, not a political slogan. TDA, topology data analysis, provides a second geometric view of the same system. Instead of measuring energy, it measures geometry, data, shape, and data points connectivity across time. TDA examines how the 3 stressors and the strain move together. The dominant eigenvalue aligns with Ukraine's spending, meaning Ukraine's mobilization forms the main geometric direction of the system. West aid forms the second direction as a supporting axis. Russia's spending forms the weakest direction, because its pattern does not match the timing of actual deformation. The eigenvector picture reinforces this. Ukraine's eigenvector points straight toward the 2022 strain jump. West aid partially overlaps, indicating support but not leadership. Russia's eigenvector is almost orthogonal to the strain direction in the critical year, showing weak coupling. TDA also shows the topological transition. From 2013 to 2021, data points sit inside a flat, compact cluster with no structural curvature. In 2022, the manifold breaks open into a stretched shape along the Ukraine axis. This marks the irreversible shift. After 2022, the manifold stays in a new region, and does not return to its old shape. War reshaped the system permanently. Both VMT and TDA tell the same story. Ukraine carries the dominant load because its survival is at stake. Western aid helps but does not shape the deformation. Russia's influence on actual strain is limited, because its land is not the one being bent. The agreement between VMT and TDA confirms the robustness of this systems-based interpretation and the value of the VPT research method. One final lesson stands out. Unless the power ratio between invader and defender is overwhelmingly large, we must never underestimate the defender's will and its VMT energy. A nation defending its homeland can absorb extraordinary deformation and still stand. This physics of survival is universal. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.